Is clients' decision making holding up projects and your pipeline?
Yes, this is a topic that I just felt I wanted to maybe discuss today and record and put out there. And by no means are we experts on this or authorities on this. I think there's plenty of other people who would be more of an authority on it, but more just of a discussion topic. And really, I mean, often when we're putting these podcasts out there, our builders, next time we're catching up with them, they raise topics that we discuss, and that often stimulates what is happening and gets discussed on the podcast. It also comes from a lot of observations we're making. And so that's kind of what I want to discuss here today, is observations that we're making in terms of frustrations we're hearing from builders. Sometimes it's, guys that are early with working with us, or it's just builders we're talking to on a regular basis. We talk to a huge array of builders, not all of them necessarily working with us. And so, hearing some frustrations that they've been going through when it comes to that decision-making part of the process.
Yeah.
Everything from sort of first contact, and I know some of the recent podcasts have been focusing on this, from initial sort of contact through to consultation, right to them making the selections and final choices and the build starting to happen.
So it's really kind of like jumping to their side, the client's side, understanding their thinking, their frame of mind, like right through from the first touch point in marketing, right through that sales process, right through the build, etc., and really understanding what are the challenges and the problems that they're facing at each different way.
And I think the main thing of today's chat is, and what we have been observing, the frustration of builders where their things, other than say delays from council and stuff like that, clients, and it's a regular thing for a lot of our builders, the frustrations around, the clients are taking too long to make a decision, so things get pushed out, or the clients haven't met deadlines. I've told the client that they need to make a decision by this date, and I haven't heard back from them. Or, and so I think the classic, and there's a spectrum of this, and I think what really highlights the spectrum of this is we had a discussion with our group the other day, and we got one builder that does, a handful of projects, not a whole lot every year, multi-million-dollar projects. And it's all decisions are really made from the client's side with the architect. He just quotes and builds it. And the other end, we got in the room, we had a builder who they do, 20, 30 projects a year. Very guided, strict boundaries when it comes to the selections and designs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's got more systemized and
very, very systemized. And those models are two very, very different models. And I'm not at any stage saying one of those guys needs to do what the other one's doing. Yeah, it wouldn't work.
No way is the right way.
It's right for them. But I think seeing how different those are, and then talking to a lot of builders, I would say sort of sit in the middle somewhere and don't really have a framework. That's where I see a lot of them having issues where, and this would be an example that I've often come across, where a builder is talking to a prospective client, and the builder says to the client or prospective client, you go away and have, decide on what you want to do here. You come up with all that list, you do all that, X, Y, Z, bring it to me, and then I'll quote a few and I can build a few. And I want the guys listening to this that might do that to understand you don't provide the most value to your client or prospective client simply by building. That's not where you provide most value. You provide.
And that's topic one. That's topic one, by the way, because we're straight into it.
Yeah,
that's good.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So
you're saying there. Sorry to interrupt you there, Japes. Yeah, so your value is not just building.
Yes.
And just taking care of that one section.
No. So you provide a lot of. I would say you provide way more value in solving the problem for your client or prospective client. Okay. Solving that problem is effectively taking them from where they currently are to where they want to be. That transformed life, that new lifestyle, that new home, that new renovation. Okay. To get that new style and lifestyle that they want.
And when you're saying problem, is it just one main problem, or what does that spectrum of problems look like?
Well, within that transition from their current state to the future state, there are a lot of other challenges that come up. Well, it's making decisions. It's making sure that the whole build journey is smooth. It's not filled with challenges and problems and nightmares and friction, because that can happen. So understanding that you provide most value in taking them from A to B, well and taking as much responsibility as you can is going to really help that. So the guys that I've seen have a lot of frustration in this space are often the ones that say to their clients, well, yeah, you go away and you decide X, Y, Z, you make decisions, you come back to me with what you want, I'll quote it and build it. What you're really doing there is creating more problems. You think you're providing a fantastic solution, nice and simple, but you're actually creating more problems. And this is, again, just observation. And our belief would be you're creating more problems because you've put all the responsibility on them, and perhaps they've never done this before. And they definitely don't do it as much as you do it. So it's going to take them a long time to do all of that. They don't. A lot of your clients, I would imagine, or our builders out there, they work. They've got other things to do. If they're not making those selections, and you can give all their attention to that. So it leads the prospective client to potentially thinking and feeling, oh, well, okay, making these decisions and coming up with these ideas and whatnot is hard work. That's not what I expected. I thought this was easy or going to be a lot easier. And so they then and maybe this isn't a fully conscious thought, but then that they connect that to, well, is building with this person going to be hard? And is it going to be harder than I expected?
Yeah.
So then because of that, again, we're human beings. We take the road that's easy rather than the road that's hard and challenging. Now, because this is hard and challenging, they're not jumping on it. They're not making those decisions. They're not going and seeing, certain places, choosing tiles, whatever, which means that process gets drawn out. And then because the builder potentially has not taken enough responsibility, the same kind of people often complain. Oh, these people can't make decisions. I've got these projects that they've been holding up in the pipeline. I gave them this deadline, they haven't met it. Now it's leaving a hole in my pipeline, all those things. Whereas those of our builders, and then the one that I gave the example of, that does those 20, 30 homes a year, has a very strict guideline for his, he has some pre-plans they can sort of base themselves off when it comes to choosing what they want in a new home. And then in terms of the selections, he has a set list, choose from this. Now, in this room, and this I think would be the thought of a lot of other builders, is that, oh, no, I'm custom. I let the client gets to choose whatever they want. I'm not going to give them a list because that's project homes.
Because that's a bit of a false belief, eh?
I would think that's a big false belief.
Yeah.
Because remember, you bring most value to that relationship and to the project, solving their problems. Giving them and saying, hey, choose any tap from anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, any brick and mortar.
That's, yeah.
It's so where do you start,
Yeah.
And I know we recently went through a bit of I wouldn't call it a reno. Carpets, paint, electrical. And just choosing paint was like, oh my goodness. Whereas if we'd had someone who, let's say the painter provided more value and said, in this kind of home, what's the feeling that you want? Show me photos.
Exactly.
Okay, I recommend this. For the outcome that you want, I think this would be the best decision going ahead to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably would have paid him more, and it would have been done sooner.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, what I want guys to understand is but I can also understand that for a lot of builders that sounds like a lot of work. Is what I'm going to have to make the decisions for them, or I'm now going to have to come up with this whole framework and process. And to a degree, yes. Do you want to be a successful builder? Do you want to have a successful business? Clients that are raving about you and do you want your systems and processes to be smoother? Yeah, then you're going to have to invest some time, energy, and resource into this. An alternative to that would be joint venture. So look at, and I've spoken to some builders who've done this very well. Find maybe an up and coming interior designer. If you're not a big brand, with a heavy, heavy weight in, then you could maybe lean on some other big names. But if you're up and coming, look for another up and coming interior designer that you can joint venture and talk to them about maybe, white label, and then you can talk to your client, say, hey, this is someone we work with very closely, or this is one of our in-house interior designers. They're going to help you make those decisions.
Yeah.
And charge for that, because it's a huge amount of value. And that comes back to, which flows on to knowing your niche.
Yeah.
If you know your niche and their problems, you know that this is going to solve a huge a huge problem for them in their decision making. Majority of our builders and majority of the builders I talk to, their ideal sort of client are your professional people, maybe they're business owners, those people who respect that equation of time and money, and know that I'm getting most value from this builder because he's taking care of it for me. So how much are you taking care of? That was a big answer. But yeah, that's
awesome.
Very passionate about, I think, seeing the pain that a lot of builders are going through with that process. Because maybe that's all they've ever known, that because they've started off doing, they did a fence here and then a deck here, as a carpenter before they became a builder. And so that's just how they operated. The client dictated, I want those steps. Yep, I can do that. Quote, build it. Then as it becomes more complex, large scale renovations, they're still operating that way.
What are you finding is, I guess, the key takeaway with this topic, and in regards to, does it come down to what you're communicating to your market?
Yeah, big time. I believe, and we all believe, getting clear on your niche is very important and what you are communicating. Because some builders, the way you communicate, so let's say your branding and your marketing is on point, and so then people perceive, oh, this person's perfect fit. It looks like that, they're doing everything that we need them to do, and then they get to you, and then they find, there's a gap. I have to go away and do all this work. Oh, it's not what I expected, and that can break trust a little bit, especially if you've worked hard to build it with your marketing. And for those who maybe are not marketing that, both of those scenarios, there's huge opportunity. If you do provide a real helping them make decisions well, and you're not marketing that, big opportunity there. Start marketing that you really can help people with that process, because that is a big fear for a lot of people once they start entering this. I can't tell you how many. I think every couple that have looked at renovating or building, how many nights you spend on Pinterest and Instagram and online looking, and you just go around in circles. You need a professional that's going to help you make decisions. Yeah. And you're desperate for a framework to follow. Something that's a proven system that you can follow.
So why are people so reluctant to find, or to find someone that's got a framework and that's got a system? Is it the fact that it's proven? Because if someone knows something's been proven, a system, a framework, they feel a lot more at ease and confident.
Yeah, builds huge confidence and almost acts as a guarantee. And that's why when it comes to, like case studies for our builders, we recommend, and they all do that, build their library of case studies. Because if you can show someone, you want to have like an array of a whole library of case studies to show someone, say they're a young family needing more space. If you've got a case study that really represents that, you've got a case study of a young family who needed more space and you helped them overcome that problem and create an amazing new home, you can show them that. It's right on point. They can feel and see and fall in love with that journey. Yeah. But you want a library of case studies, because that's going to show your market, wow, Andre, ABC Building, you on this project, this kind of client with these kind of challenges and their why, you took them on a journey and you delivered an amazing outcome. And for this client, they were empty nesters, or they were a professional couple, no kids, with dogs, And then this one, it shows your market, wow, Andre, it doesn't matter who you work with, you consistently are helping these people make good decisions, go on this journey that they enjoyed, and bring them an amazing outcome. And that is very, very important, because that can build unquestionable confidence and trust in your audience.
A lot of builders feel like they attract the wrong clientele that only focus on price. They never seem to get the projects that they are truly passionate about and that are also profitable. Builders love working with us because we help them create an emotional connection with their ideal clients through the power of story, and help them build long-term trust through their marketing system. If you're a builder and if you feel like you need help, book in a story strategy session with our team by visiting builderstorymarketing.com. Now back to this episode.
Well, let's move on to topic 2. We've discussed a little bit of this already, but it comes down to, I guess, what are things that builders can then implement from more of like a practical perspective to kind of help solve all these problems and
Yeah.
have clients feel like there's certainty, there's confidence before they step in this journey with you.
Yeah.
And also after they've been through, they're like, oh my word, this was so amazing. I just want to tell the whole world about it. So what are things people can do practically? Like how builders can pre-frame a lot more.
Yeah, so
etc.
pre-framing is exactly a good example. So when you start helping your client make decisions, pre-framing them, and what we mean by that is don't give such an ambiguous task of you go away and choose what you'd like. Or, give them, it might be pre-framing them and saying, look, really excited to help in this project. It's important that you're making confident decisions. Remember, in order for us to lock in today's pricing, or in order for us to meet certain deadlines that you've asked for, we need those decisions made by this day. Telling them that to bring them the outcome that they want, there's a deadline in place. That would be one example. Or pre-framing them to say, look, when it comes to making decisions, I know it can be quite challenging. Would you like me to put you in touch with someone that can help you make those decisions?
Yep.
Or do you have a resource to give them? Maybe it's as simple as a checklist.
Yeah.
One of our builders, he will say to them, look, go to this shop. I know the guy there, he'll look after you. And then he has a relationship with that shop that in terms of, so that shop owner knows to really look after his clients.
Yeah.
And also knows how to, he's pre-framed the shop owner as well when it comes to guiding and making those decisions. Only show them these. And if the person's budget is considerably higher, we'll say, look, this person's budget's high, you can show them those and those. But
so, yeah, okay.
and so pre-framing, and then that also then flows into just setting limits and boundaries to their decisions. It's not, scour the whole internet and find what you need.
Yes.
Based on what you've shown me, I would go to this shop.
Yes.
Or this is a supplier that we have a great relationship with.
Yeah.
They have a fine selection that I think will really meet your taste.
Yeah.
Just guiding them to go to one place to make that decision.
Yeah. So really making it, from what I can hear there, JP, is really making it easy for your clients.
Yeah.
I almost like, as you were sort of talking about it there, I was like imagining, having like a little baby, like my little baby son, Sammy, with him, it's kind of like putting boundaries for him, because he, as a baby, they want that. They want to feel like, in a way, that they are looked after, and they've got, this is where you got to operate between these two lines. They like that. And same things with your clients. They like to feel like they're in good hands, and this is the lines. So you're really narrowing it down for them, because obviously you understand their vision.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand their vision, obviously that's going to be hard. Yeah. But if you understand it, and you set those boundaries, you give them a couple shops or a couple choices, and you give them a date, then they know, cool, I've just got to get this done. And
and I think, in giving boundaries as well, positions you as an authority. Because, again, they're the one that's new to this. By you saying these are the boundaries that you need to make decisions in, your marketing should have already helped set you as an authority. But that's going to further establish you and say, look, based on what you shared with me, this is the outcome you want. I recommend sitting inside here. Oh, okay, excellent. Now, because of how your marketing's positioned you as an authority, you get to then make those decisions, guiding them, which is going to provide them with more value. It's also going to provide you with more value, because it's going to make the system easier. That makes it more of a systemized process rather than from the ground up, starting from scratch every time.
It's good. That's awesome. Okay, well, let's move to topic 3, which is kind of like, okay, cool. All this that we just chatted about, and the things that you kind of brought up, what can they go and implement now? What are things that specific things that they can look at and they can go just implement straight off the bat?
I think the one that would take not the least amount of effort or input, but in terms of those who've read the book Who Not How, the power of finding the who, I would say potentially look at that. Look at JVing with someone, with an interior designer that can come in and help your client make good, confident decisions. And then that person, that's what they specialize in. So they can have a sit down with them and going, hey, let's decide together what that framework should look like. And then they can help the client work through that framework. Maybe even reach out to them and say, could you help me put together a framework?
Yep.
And then we can offer the client options. Here's a framework that you can go away and follow by yourself. But maybe it's a bit of a checklist. or would you like someone to handhold you through that? But I think...
So is it like kind of looking at your kind of the journey that your clients go on, understanding really where the problems that are coming up and preventing projects or delaying projects, and putting delay into the pipeline, and then kind of going, cool, I need to solve this area here, maybe at the interior side, getting an interior designer,
and I think,
etc.
For those of our builders that listen to this podcast a lot, we always talk about getting clear on your niche. It's probably where I should have started, because making a framework is very hard if you're doing everything. But if you know your niche, you know their problem, you know what you're solving for them, you know the kind of style of projects you're doing or whatever, then whatever process you create is going to be more focused, more targeted, and then you can refine that, and it's going to work better and better every time. But coming up with sitting down, I think another takeaway would be sitting down and going, okay, where are some of the challenges when it comes to my clients taking a long time to make decisions and it's causing frustrations, holding things up, and then looking, going, okay, well, how could I help? How could I provide more value? And then look at a who that could help you with that. Or is it a case where you spend a day putting together some sort of guideline, a checklist maybe? I'm just really simplifying it. Or could you set up a partnership or relationship with some local suppliers? And so you're telling your client, go visit these places. And then you've already had to sit down with that supplier to then just provide, you want to talk to a supplier and say, please make this process for my client easy. Don't let them walk in there and go, take your pick. Because again, then they're just creating more problems. It's just, then they're going to spend 3 hours in there and maybe they can't choose and they walk out. And that's just delayed the whole process.
That's all great, Japes. Thank you for sharing that. I guess in summary, if you had to kind of summarize everything we've been through, what would be the lasting summary that you'd give? I mean, the listeners?
Hopefully those takeaways can help, and just discussing this topic has been maybe thought-provoking. That'd be all I can really hope for. Ultimately, though, we're not, as I said at the start, we're not authorities on this. We're not specialists in this. This is not our area per se. It's just an observation that we've come across, and we've seen guys do it really well and create a huge amount of value and be able to charge more and have more profit on their jobs when they start solving these sort of problems within their process. So yeah, hopefully it's been helpful.
Awesome, Jabby. Yeah. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank
Cheers.
You.